Hi everybody, this is Andrew with Simple and Short, about to talk about Cryptotrader and how to choose a strategy, backtest it, and so forth. I think when it comes to strategies, obviously I'm biased. I make Simple and Short, so it aligns with what I liked as an investor, which was a little bit more of a buy and hold strategy with a safety net. You can see here on Cryptotrader there are really all sorts of different strategies available. I mean, strategies are, some are more aggressive, some are more safe, some trade very, very frequently, multiple times a day. Some only trade a handful of times throughout the month or a couple of times. Really, this video isn't to try and drive you in any direction. You really should find a strategy that aligns with it, test it through the back testing, which we're going to cover today, and find something that works for you for algorithmic trading. Now, obviously, this video, I always have to point out, as does in the strategies, there are no guarantees with any of these strategies. You really should test these. So I'm going to use Simple and Short as an example. If we go to Simple and Short, you can see there's all sorts of information here. Some graphs that we'll get into in the backtesting that show a pattern over a period of time for buy and sells, information about what the strategy does. This should help you align with the strategy maker if you're an investor. Information on how to use it, things like parameters. Release notes are always nice about new things that are coming. And so down below, if you scroll down, you'll also see the strategies, ability to run with different currencies on the different markets. So not everybody creates their strategy to run on Coinbase, for instance. It takes a lot of work for the developers to make these work on every single different one. We have to not just test the code against Cryptotrader, but that code has to be tested for each market, for each currency. So, make sure that it fits. You'll also find information like backtests. This is what the developer used to run it. You can use these to test it, to see if you like what it runs against. So let's go into a couple of these. I'm going to pull up the Coinbase BTC here, and I'm going to blank out just for a second so that I can protect. Backtest. So what you can see on the backtest is the output of what it ran. So you can see here, these are the dates. We've got a log. We've got the parameters that we use to run it, and the settings. So these are obviously fake. So you can set how much money you're passing to it and so forth. You can see here that the source is protected. So what I can do now is I can run more backtests with this strategy to understand, get different log outputs to see how it's going to perform in the market. You can see up here that typically there's a graph. In this case, sometimes when you run it, if you have too much data, it won't show up. But one of the things that I can do is I can go to daily, click refresh, and then I'm going to be able to see what that graph looks like over a longer period of time. And I use this quite frequently to look at things at a little bit more of a macro level and drill into specific date ranges to see how it would perform. So if we were to look here, I think this is kind of interesting. If I hover my mouse over one of these, I can see that this is around May. Up here is, this is around July-ish. So I could take May, go change this here to May, change this to 2016, go to August 1st. I've kind of taken a snapshot now. Can refresh to view in on this at a daily level. And then Simple and Short only runs on the hour, but here as well. to start it with 1,000. I always run it without trading fees, and you'll see in a moment, Simple and Short actually has another place for trading fees that it does all the calculations to keep track of it in the output for you. But I found that depending on the market, the behavior on trading fees in backtesting, this was, again, a couple of days. So sometimes it, just depending on what it's seeing in the market. So you can see here that out of 7 attempts or cycles of buying and selling, won 6, lost 1. It's an 85% ratio, paid $42 in fees. 40% growth translated to $392. That's after the fees. So you can see I went from 1,000 to 1,392. And in this case, we actually beat the instrument of even the buy and hold. So the Bitcoin on Coinbase in this instance was up 34%. And we can see that what it did to the portfolio. I've also got markers in here about current high, low, and all that. But again, I can go back through the parameters. See, I ran it with this 1,000. Here's my fees. Here's my settings to start with. So this gives you an idea of how you could go run this over all sorts of different date periods, different markets. I've even had some people come to me and say, hey, you don't have it built for this market and this currency. I'd really like to use Simple and Short here. I've back tested it. I've seen that it works. Can you go add this for me so that I can run your strategy? So this is back testing. And a little insight into Simple and Short. Simple and Short also does email this run summary that has a nice kind of summary that says here 6 wins, 1 loss, 39%, making $392 from 1,000 to start in 93 days, where the instrument did 34%. So that actually gets emailed every day at the end of the day from Simple and Short, just so you can kind of keep an eye on things. One of the biggest things I'd say is recommendations for those that are new is just to understand that 2 things. One, if you turn it on and it hasn't traded in a day, know your strategy. Some of them trade a lot, some of them trade a little, and even if they trade a lot, if it's a time like here where the market is flatlined, even those more aggressive strategies may not trade right away, so it takes time. Also, you've got to give these strategies time to play out. There are always going to be bumps in the market. You can actually see here that this very first cycle was the first loss. So, if I had run this, starting May 1st, and all of a sudden it's 2 weeks in, I took my first loss, if I freaked out and bailed, I would have never gotten to see all these different permutations. And almost all of these bots require some up-down movement in the market to make money. It's very hard for them to profit off of a flat line. So it definitely takes a little bit of time for these swings. These swings come over time, and you can see if you run it for 90 plus days, that's when you really start to get results. So I always encourage people to, give it a chance, let it run for a while. I tend to think of this, you can't win some without losing some. So you have to give it a chance to show that it can win overall in the majority of the time, and hope to choose a strategy that not only wins more, but capitalizes on those wins, where it's making more when it wins than when it loses. I hope this was helpful. Look forward to more videos to come. Thank you.